Welcome everybody to another edition of the Coors Light Future Pro Tour. 3 major Future Pro Tour events begin next month on the California Delta, and participating anglers will need to know specifically how they can maximize their time on the water. So what better opportunity is there for you to learn 2 of the most prevalent big bass catching techniques that there is, frog fishing and punching. Stay tuned everybody, we've got a great show for you.
Evinrude E-Tech is the only outboard that gives you more of the experiences you want. Like more acceleration and top end speed, more time on the water with no maintenance for 3 years or 300 hours, more chances to catch more fish, and more fun. The Evinrude E-Tech, it's more, and more than anything else on the water. Experience more with Evinrude.
No matter where you cast your line or what you're angling for, discover new baits, lures, and techniques with Tackle Grab, powered by Earnhardt Outdoors. Each month, customized boxes of bait and tackle arrive to outfit your next excursion. Let the Earnhardts and Tackle Grab help you rediscover one of the world's favorite pastimes. Subscribe for yourself or a fellow fisherman at tacklegrab.com. Which memory will you discover next?
Ron Howe from RB Bass Fishing was our 2011 Snag Proof Open champion, and he's going to show us some great techniques on how to catch bass using a topwater frog.
We're out here on the California Delta today. It's a summer day, a little bit in the afternoon, got a high tide. We're just gonna go out and do some topwater bass fishing. We're gonna fish some different cover. We're gonna be fishing some mats. We're gonna fish some open water, some sparse toolies, maybe look for some areas with current, and we're gonna look for areas that have compressed grass. And we're gonna try to figure out today which one of those areas are gonna hold us some topwater bites. And today I'm gonna attack it with a frog. It's one of the most explosive ways to catch fish out here on the Delta. There's many frogs to choose from. I happen to be using a snag-proof bleeding frog. It's really easy to walk, and it's just a great bait. The fish love it, and we'll see if we get some explosive bites for you today. Now, if you're out tournament fishing and you're trying to win, a frog is definitely a way you need to look at, because it's gonna get better than average bites most of the time. It's gonna give you that opportunity when you're fishing a tournament to catch that fish that's gonna help you win. Now, one of the keys to frog fishing is you gotta have braid. It's essential. It has no stretch. It's strong. It allows you to pull fish through just about anything. You gotta have braid. Right now I'm fishing a tip of an island, and basically there's a big giant weed flat out here in front of me. It comes way out off the tip of the island. Summertime bass are notorious for getting out on island tips and sitting in the little sparse weeds and the weed clumps. And the reason they do that is there's a little more current out towards the main tip of the island or the end of the flat than there is back in the middle. And some days they will be in the middle, some days they'll be out here. But today we're fishing an island flat. There's just a lot of grass, little pockets, little holes, and there's bluegill and baby bass and a lot of different food that use this kind of area during summer. A lot of times people think when they're frog fishing, they got to fish right on top of the thickest stuff they can find. That's not the truth. Frogs work great in open water. They work great next to cover, in and around cover. Another reason it's key to have that braid is when you get those bites and you're next to something, you got to make sure you can haul that bass out of there real quick. That's why we throw frogs, right? Pow! Nice fish right there. Cover water, cover water, cover water, cover water. Percentages don't lie. You fish hard, you throw topwater baits, you catch big bass. People talk a lot about fish finders on the Delta and how they don't really use them on the Delta, but I'm gonna tell you they're definitely an effective tool. One, a little bit for navigation, just to generally know your way around the Delta. You got a map right here built in. Having the right Navionics hot map is a key to that. And there's a lot of things it can do. One of the key tools that it does that really helps me out is if I've been out fishing quite a bit and I figure out which part of the tide the bass are biting a little better on, I can key in on that part of the tide, and it's pretty easy to do. They've got these little T symbols all over the map here, and you'll watch, I'm gonna go ahead and arrow up to that T symbol, okay, and just click enter twice. What that does, you can see it's bringing up the rise of the tide and the fall of the tide. It's got your date right here. You can do previous day, next day. You could scroll all the way forward 2 weeks ahead and check the tides for when you're gonna be on the water, okay? So today, it was high tide right at, oh, let's see here, we're gonna pull the cursor over here. We had a high tide this morning. The peak of the high tide was at 5:28, okay? 5:10. And you can see the tide bottomed out at 1:06 p.m. at a negative 0.28 feet, okay? Right now we are at this section of the tide right here. So we're coming up to the top of a high tide. It's about 5:20 right now. The tide's gonna rise all the way to the top. It's gonna peak out right at 7 o'clock tonight, and then you're gonna see it fall again. So what that's gonna allow me to do is if I find out the fish are biting just on the other side of the bottom of the tide, I can key in, make sure I'm in the right area at the bottom of the tide. If the fish are biting at the high switch, on either the top of the incoming or just the beginning of the outgoing, I can key in, make sure I'm in the right areas during that time. Lately in the month of July, the fish have been biting mid-tide. And I've been making sure I'm in the key areas when the water's halfway up or halfway down. So using your electronics on the Delta can be a humongous help to you in catching more bass.
There it is. Got her. Got her. That's a good one. That's a good fish right there. After you don't get a bite. Yes, that switch. That's a nice bass right there. Ow. That don't suck.
That's what you get out here. You work hard, you cover a lot of water, you get those. Come on, gorilla. Oh, little guy. Oh, I'm missing it now.
Oh my God, you see that? Oh my God.
This is Ron Howe from rbbassfishing.net, and today we went on the California Delta. We went frog fishing, showed you how to catch some open water fish, making a lot of casts, fishing real hard. Those kind of fish you can get right there. Hope this helped you guys out. Have a wonderful turn.
Stay tuned for more bass fishing action in just a moment.
Tired of searching through ads to find bass articles in your favorite fishing magazine? Well, we have a solution for that. Introducing Bass Angler Magazine with over 30 articles in every issue, filled with tips and techniques to help you catch more fish. Follow the pros as they publish the most up-to-date seasonal methods to catching bigger bass. Whether you're a beginner or professional angler, make Bass Angler Magazine part of your gear today. Have a smartphone? Download our app and have access to Bass Angler Magazine on and off the water. There is no excuse to become a more successful bass angler, covering topics such as cold water cranking, emergency rod repair, summertime swim bait fishing, and much, much more. Be a part of the fastest growing bass publication in the nation. Log on to bassanglermag.com with code TV and save 20% when you subscribe now.
Once upon a time, before backpacks came with rollers and games were canceled due to rain, everyone drank their no-whip, black as a miner's day coffee out of cast iron pots. We didn't cook our meat with self-igniting charcoal. Companies didn't hire praise teams to make sure we got enough pats on the back. You had to earn them. Thankfully, there are still a few of us left who believe in hard work, determination, and guts. Guts, after all, is what brings us great things.
See the complete line of Ram trucks at Cabral, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram of Manteca. 1145 West Yosemite Avenue, Manteca, California. 209-823-1148, where Western outdoorsmen come to get the best deals and best service. 209-823-1148. Let's go now to Alan Fong, General Manager of the Fisherman's Warehouse, and Zack Thompson, FLW Touring Pro, to give you their side-by-side comparative analysis of punch fishing. Let's talk about the concept of punching. What is punching? Describe what it really means.
You can punch anything.
Okay.
Basically, the term down here in the Delta, punching means you're going to go up to a grass mat, whether it's hyacinths, pennywort, hippie grass.
The thickest stuff you can find.
Thickest stuff you can find. What it does, it forms a canopy so the fish live underneath it. Remember, it's 5 degrees cooler. So if you got 80-degree water, it's 5 degrees cooler. And then again, you got current, because the only place you're going to find that stuff, because it's not root situated, is where the wind took it or the current.
Kind of like where we're at now. We're underneath a canopy.
Yep.
There's wind coming through.
And it's nice,
It's
right?
nice and cool.
We're not standing out in
We're
the
not
sun,
standing out in
right?
the sun. Same way with the punch fish.
Same thing. I use 80-pound test because that grass, you know, is really heavy.
65 to 80 pound Stren spider wire braid. I like the 65 to 80 because it's thicker diameter and it really protects the line from nicks and whatnot.
First thing you're gonna do is put a bobber stop. And when I'm running up to 2 ounces, I'll use 2 of them. As you see, I got 2 on here. And then you're gonna have your weight. And then I put another bobber stopper. And then I run a skirt. The skirt, what it does is when you pitch it in and you don't move, it's moving for you. One of the keys is when you pull that bottom stopper down, you only pull it so the weight rides right on top, not quite touching the bead.
Okay.
And then the top rubber stoppers go right on top of the weight.
And that seems
The
to allow
weight's
it
to pivot.
to pivot. Okay.
Yeah.
And this one I'm going to do without a bobber stop or a punch stop. In the summertime, when the fish seem to be really active, I like to do without the bobber stop. I feel like it just get a few more bites for some reason. I like to use skirts on occasion, but today I think I'll probably use this most of the time.
Tungsten, if you were to use lead, it'd be 3 times that big to get that kind of weight.
Okay.
So you want to use tungsten because you got half the diameter, and then it'll get through the weeds a lot better. You can see, sometimes we're punching today, 5 times in, 5 times don't go through. Right?
Exactly.
See, so you got to have a smallest weight you can get. And then the hook. And I just tie a regular double cinch trilene. I don't use a snail knot. And that's your punching rig. And then you put your havoc on the bottom.
Okay.
The number one thing is to use tungsten weights and straight shank hooks. Something that I've noticed too is guys will have trouble getting their baits through, so they'll go to a heavier weight, they'll go to a bigger bait. They think the larger, heavier weight is always gonna make the bait go through easier, and in my opinion, that's just simply not true. I have more success getting lighter 1 ounce weights with a smaller profile bait through the thickest cover than I will a 1.5 or even a 2 ounce weight on some occasions. And also, it seems like the non-painted silver weights, or any non-painted weight for that matter, seems to be a little bit more slippery through the grass too than the painted varieties, especially when the painted varieties get chipped up. When they get chipped and dinged and start to chip off, they actually catch grass more, I think, than anything. I'll take a Havoc Pit Boss, one of my really high percentage baits, and take the Pit Boss, run it down, pull it up a little tight, and I always like to make sure that the point's not exposed on the punch rigs, because you're setting the hook so hard, and you want it to be weedless. So there's the rig on a 7-foot 11-inch Veritas flip stick and a 7-to-1 gear ratio Revo. spooled up with the spider wire, and you're good to go.
Stay tuned for more bass fishing action in just a moment.
Now, discover what you don't know about your electronics as FPT Tech presents an informational DVD that will help you understand the basics of today's sonar concepts. Topics include unit setup and rigging, understanding fish signals, screen size relevance, eliminating interference, navigational chart plotting, and much more. Call today and get this instructional DVD for only $9.99 plus shipping and handling, and start using your electronics to help you catch more fish.
The Future Pro Tour's annual summer shootout comes to the California Delta June 14th and 15th, giving those that like to fish big a chance at some monster bass. Day 1 competition is from 1 to 7 p.m. and Day 2 competition will be from safe light to noon, giving anglers the opportunity to fish at the best times of the day. Attend our pre-event Angler Expo and receive one-on-one instruction from top pros that know the Delta. There will be a free raffle for premium tackle and free software updates for your Navionics chips and Humminbird fish finders. Plus, enjoy a free barbecue hosted by CNC Marine. This will be a big field with a big payout, so call today and sign up for the Future Pro Tour's annual Delta Summer Shootout.
I found that the smaller the mat, the more effective they are. You can be going along a rock bank or even a tulies and then just see about 10 feet of mat. Those are probably the ones that I do the best on. The only problem is the next week you come back, they're gone. Because when the